Calgary. I've got potentially a quick stop in Red Deer to give the dog something to sniff, but it's time to go home. The season of Lent is often described as a desert. We sometimes have desert symbolism in the church. For example, the baptismal fonts, or fountains of holy water, or sometimes like just little receptacles of holy water by the doorways of the church. Those sometimes are dried out during the season of Lent to help remind us that things were not always this way, that salvation was not always available, to remind us of our sin, to remind us of the desert. Now, the Israelites in the Old Testament spend 40 years wandering around in the desert because of disobedience to God, and during the season of Lent, we spend 40 days in this metaphorical desert. But when the Israelites were wandering in the desert and there was no way to get food, God granted them food. It was what they, you may have heard a term, manna in the desert. And that's what it refers to. God caused food to appear for them that they could gather at particular times. It was kind of like a very light bread flavored with honey. That was how people described it. But, one of the most amazing foods they'd ever tasted. I'm sure it was a whole lot better than Soylent Green, that's for sure. I have a snack that I brought with me on the trip, and it's honey-coated puffed wheat. It's here, and I was thinking to myself as I was contemplating if I was going to eat some of it on the way home, because I just had sort of lunch right now, and I'm not super hungry at the moment, but I was contemplating if I eat some of this on the way home, it would be kind of like eating manna in the desert. So it's kind of an interesting thing to think of, God providing grace to these disobedient Israelites as they wandered, making sure they had enough to eat, making sure that their needs were met. That's the nature of the God that I serve, or the one that I believe in. And so this year, when I was in Ash Wednesday service, I was thinking to myself, when they put the cross of ashes on your face to symbolize your repentance and the acknowledgement of your sin and of the fact that you will die from dust to dust, from ashes to ashes. When you are in at the front of the church receiving that sign of the cross on your face in those ashes, they say, repent and believe in the gospel. Now, for many years I've heard that phrase, and I have thought to myself a lot about repentance. This year, this Lent, I think it's a little bit more about the last word, the gospel, the good news. Believe in the good news that there is forgiveness, that there is light in the darkness, that God is at work in the world, that things are becoming better, even though they tend to chaos. God is making them, with our help, God is making the world a better place. And I think that we see this in some tangible ways. We see many parts of the world trying to do a better job of taking care of the marginalized. We see an alleviation of poverty worldwide, as you might have heard from Bill Gates' yearly address that he does about the state of the world. And poverty has gone down a great deal, and that is a good blessing for the many people who is affected. It's not that we don't have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, and that work is part of what we focus on in Lent. So there are three main facets to Lent that are supposed to be observed. The first is prayer, the second is fasting, and the third is almsgiving, or ensuring that you're giving money to the poor, and not only just money, but also your as I've heard a lot of people use this phrase in church or in prayers, time, your talents, and your money. I can't remember, there's the third D word they use for that, but those things are important to give when you are thinking about Lent, when you are trying to participate in Lent. And so today I am thinking about what it is that I want to do and accomplish this Lent to help those in need. So I've always had a passion for the food bank, because there were times in my childhood that we did not have enough to eat. I know what it's like to go hungry, and it is not a fun thing. There were times when there was essentially nothing to eat growing up, and I definitely recall those times and remember them, and I know that other children go through the same, and other adults too, but by far and most profoundly, the children are the ones who have the worst experience in poverty when there's no food. And so I have a passion to see children get enough to eat and be treated with kindness. Actually, one of the things that's lesser known about the food bank is that a lot of children come in by themselves to the food bank to try to get help. A lot of children and young adults, particularly young adults who've ended up caring for their family as their parents have been lost to addiction, or typically to some sort of addiction. And so I have a passion to see those children and the children that they're taking care of be fed. I also am passionate about the plight of those who are in slavery or wage slavery around the world. It's really difficult to make decisions to help these people because almost every facet and aspect of the North American lifestyle impoverishes the people in the countries where our things are made or our food is grown. You know, I think potentially I would have to move to a farm, build it myself, grow all of my own food, and never buy an electronic device again if I were going to be truly serious about helping those people. And I don't know if that is what I'm called to do, but I do feel that it is incredibly important that we stand up for those who are disadvantaged in their jobs, as well as those who are homeless or do not have jobs. Thirdly, I am becoming more and more of an advocate for those who are mentally ill, and in fact a great deal of those who are homeless and a great deal of those who struggle with addictions and all these other things are people who have really struggled quite severely with various kinds of mental illness. And I feel very strongly that mental illness is not well dealt with in our culture, and that people don't recognize it well, and that they care extremely poorly for those who are mentally ill. And I include in that number some mental illnesses that are rather unpopular to be even declared mental illnesses. I'm not going to talk much about this right now, but I feel that there are a number of groups of people who have issues with mental illness that are very poorly cared for by those who claim to stand up for and uphold their rights. I'm much less interested in what rights the person has than whether or not they're cared for. Because you'll see that if you actually care for a person as though they were a person, their rights are naturally cared for, and that you don't need to fight for anyone's rights. If you care for them, they're naturally cared for, and their rights are naturally and normally met, without stretching, without law. If we actually cared for people the way that we should, it would be a non-issue. These are some of the things that I'm thinking about this Lent. Thinking about what my place is in trying to solve these issues. Thinking about the direction that I want to go. and thinking about what changes have been wrought in my life from this trip and what it means to me. Okay, so the video I wanted to take about Lent and Ash Wednesday, I probably don't have time to do it right now for the most appropriate reason. I was helping a guy push his car off of some big icy snowbank after Mass. I parked right behind him before Mass and promised I'd come out and help. There were about 8 of us coming out and helping, and you know, sometimes when there's 8 people helping, it's too many people helping, you know, the too many cooks thing, but we actually did manage to get his car off, and it was really hung up, so we were all pretty proud that we actually managed to get him out of there. Now, I don't think there's anything more Lenten than what I just did. I gave up the big video I had planned in the church. I gave up the chance to pray in front of what they call the monstrous that holds the Eucharist for adoration after Mass. I gave up a bunch of things for Lent on Ash Wednesday. So I gotta tell you, I am really blessed by this Mass. I'm blessed by the what the priest had to say. I'm blessed by the readings, by the act of being there. Blessed by the fact that I don't feel disappointed that the cross they're supposed to draw on my head is a large smudge. But I feel blessed to have been here for Mass, blessed to be taking part in Lent, blessed to have had a person to help right after the service. Like I said, there's nothing more Lenten than sacrifice, because in Lent we participate in the sacrifice of Christ. I mean, we do that every week in Mass, in coming to the table of communion, but today we pledge that for the next 40 days we're going to consider deeply the sacrifice that we're willing to make for Christ, and the joy and the peace that could replace all of the negative things that are holding us back and holding us down. That's what Lent is about, and that is what we are called to do here today. So today I came into church ready to help someone, knowing that when I came out of church, all of the plans that I had, all of the things that I wanted to do to participate in this Lenten observance, they would have to wait, because I need to take care of my dog, and I have a lunch to go to where the person that I'm visiting doesn't have a lot of time. And I don't say all of these things to make anyone proud of me. In fact, there's a specific group of readings that we read today on Lent to talk about how you should not parade your sacrifices in public. And I say to you today, you should definitely not honor me for the sacrifice I've made in helping this man. It's a simple everyday thing. It's something we should always be doing. It shouldn't be something that I'm looking at like, oh, this is so special. The only reason it's special to me today is because I am excited to be serving someone. On the day of Lent, on the day when we celebrate all these things, I feel that it's special to me personally, and I don't think you're going to find it special, and I don't think it's really all that special. Just in my heart it is. And that's, I think, what matters. I was in a situation yesterday where I was helping somebody dig out their car, but nobody had a shovel, so first opportunity, bought myself this little baby for use with helping others with their vehicles, and potentially helping me with mine, because mine's not really known to be that great a vehicle for being in the snow. But here's the thing, I bought this more for others than myself, and I think that's part of what Lent means. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen. Okay, so this is my first incidence of feeling convicted that I'm not living up to my Lent mantra of living simply. So yesterday was the first day of Lent, today is the second, it's going to be a rough start. Here I am in the parking lot of Wendy's, feeling kind of upset because I feel in my heart that it's not living simply to go get myself some food at Wendy's when I do have perfectly good food that will fill my belly in my car. You know, it makes me think about the fact that those who are less fortunate have to eat whatever's there to fill their bellies. And I should do that more too. The preconception that I came on this trip with was that it was going to be a very long time seeing the results of the prayer. I wasn't necessarily expecting I was expecting to have some peace in my heart, but not to the level that I feel it. I really believe that I have made peace with a lot of the things that were very difficult for me to encounter. I mean, I made breakthroughs immediately, the very first time that I just sat and took the time to pray. And not only that, but I made further breakthroughs the longer that I went out. The more times, the more shrines and grottos I visited, the more churches I went to. As the trip progressed, my faith did progress. And that is truly the point of a pilgrimage. Is it good to be home, Murphy? Is it good to be home? So it turns out I had to film a video for Last Resort over the last couple of days. Actually, it was mainly last night, really late at night. And I had to set up all of this equipment and rent a special microphone, and I thought, you know what? This would be the perfect opportunity to give a final word to everything that happened to me on the pilgrimage. I have a few topics I want to cover today. First of all, the most common question I get asked is what special moments I remember from the trip. And gosh, there's a lot. I definitely had some incredible times with friends and family. I had a great time playing video games. I had super closeness with God in so many scenarios. But I'm just going to talk about a couple of times. Both of them were at shrines related to Mary. Now remember, this trip for me has been so much about learning Marian devotion and becoming more devoted to Mary. And I have had a wonderful experience. I feel that all of the women that I prayed for help to, all of the female saints, have been helping me in incredible ways. All of the things I've prayed for are already coming to pass. I can feel it. The things I prayed specifically to women for about, issues regarding my personality and the person I want to become. So I have to tell you a fun story. I asked God for more opportunities to help people during Lent. And the way it came out was kind of like this. I was praying for asking Mary to intercede for me and saying, hey, could I have more opportunities to help people during Lent? And, one of the ways I'm really good at that is by helping people when there's something wrong with their cars. Can you give me some more opportunities to do that? Well, turns out I had my third opportunity today to help somebody. They didn't have a jack for their car and they needed to change a tire at the gas station where I was. And just a couple of days ago, I had to help somebody who was a person who didn't speak English very well. Yeah, English was definitely at least their second language, possibly quite far down the list of languages. And they needed somebody to jumpstart their car in the middle of a fairly, not a very busy road, but usually busy in the daytime. And I had to actually back up and face my car the wrong way on this kind of major street to help get them started again. They had the jumper cables, but they didn't have the car, and me and another person stopped. They handled the jumper cable part of it, and I handled the driving to make sure there was a vehicle to be in the right spot to jumpstart their car. So between that and the opportunity I had during Lent, which I've talked about, and during Ash Wednesday, right after the service, which I talked about, and the opportunities I've had to help the poor
It's been really inspiring, and I feel much more like I'm coming to a place of rightness, I guess is the word I would use. Approaching holiness, approaching the kind of person I really want to become, the kind of saintliness that I aspired to by wanting to be more like these women that I've been praying for help, for intercession, for help to become the kind of person I want to be. So that's a big part of it. I'm going to talk about 2 different events that happened that were really important to me. The first is that I was at the Lady of Lourdes, Our Lady of Lourdes grotto, replica grotto. And I was walking in, and there's this little video that you saw where I'm complaining about the fact that, well, sort of complaining about the fact that it's extremely cold and I haven't eaten, and I'm like, this is the first time I feel like I've experienced any hardship in being a pilgrim. Well, it was during the end of that video when I experienced something really special. As I was walking into the grotto, it provided this really protective space, and I felt protected, I felt warm and fuzzy inside, and I had an incredible prayer time there. I prayed longer there, I think, than any other place that I was. And it was so many of the things that I prayed there, and including this one that I was just talking about for, opportunities to help people during Lent, that really came to pass for me. And those things have been extremely special moving forward. The other time that was really special for me was at the St. Kateri Shrine. There's this one point at which I just kind of stood and looked around, and the snow was softly falling, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. It wasn't too cold. I just had some fun with the dog running around the reserve, and it was a very special, relaxed time that I had. And I had a very peaceful heart at that point. This was the last of the major spiritual spaces that were outdoors that I went to, and it was a really excellent time. I recall every individual experience had so much to add to my life, whether it was happiness from spending time with friends and family, whether it was the joy of spending real quality time with God himself. Everything was an amazing experience. I would never regret doing it. I would certainly recommend that you go out and take your own spiritual journey, that you go out and go on your own pilgrimage. Go find the destination that's meaningful to you. Go find the right saint that you need to ask for help. Go find whatever it is that you need to get in touch with your spirit and with God, and recognize who you are again. Realize what it is that you want to be. Those kind of times and the seeking after them are so important in life, and it's very difficult to spend enough time doing it. So I highly challenge you, go out and go on your own pilgrimage. Take that physical journey with the spiritual destination that I took. I'm certain that you won't regret it, and I'm hoping that you'll come out of it like I did, feeling so much more like myself, like a better version of myself, and moving towards the direction that I want to be going, or even just resting in the place that you are. I pray that God blesses you with abundance of spiritual blessings. I'm going to do a bit of a prayer for those of you who've been watching through this series. I hope that this prayer of blessing will reach you and give you peace. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for these people who have been faithfully watching and who have been enjoying everything that I have set forward and talked about from this trip. I pray that you would bless them with new understanding of themselves, new understanding of who they are, who they're going to become, with revelation of who you are and what you mean to their lives. I pray that you would give them peace and grant them safety in all of the travels that they are going to take. In your name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.